I know everything. What gender am I? How old am I? Are you a boy or a girl? I've been asked these questions, and I also think it's worth discussing how to determine what your gender is. The definition of gender is the way you control how other people treat you. Now, just hold on, and I will get to that in a little bit later in the video. Okay, so as for me, I am very ancient. I am descended from a vampire clan from many, many generations ago. That's right, I am descended from vampires. But the good thing is, I only inherited the immortality and not the vampirism. You see, I don't have any fangs. Even on this part, no fangs, and on this part, no fangs. Just regular teeth. So that's good. And probably none of my children have it. I don't have any children, but that's why I'm pretty sure, in fact, I know that they don't have it. In my early days, I was called Y. I was being called Y because I kept asking why all the time, and people kept, getting irritated and snapping back at me and going, why? And after a while, I think they just forgot my name. But yeah, after I came to know everything, I started being called the Knowledge Sage, which I shortened to Sage. I think it speaks to my ancient wisdom. And I left the Y in there because, that used to be my name, so. And that's kind of my journey of how I came to know who I am. And now I can tell you a little bit more about finding out what your gender is. So, first I need to be clear. Gender used to mean the same thing as sex, but it doesn't anymore. Sex is like what's on your body, but gender refers to the way you control how other people treat you. Now, if you think about it, that is really what it comes down to. And it always comes down to how you want to be treated. Like, if you want to be treated more like a rhinoceros, you might identify as a rhinoceros, just as an example. So the most significant way you can control how people treat you is by your behavior. But there's also other factors like your name, your sex, and a bunch of different things will determine how people treat you. So these are all parts of things that you should be looking at. And the way to define your own gender as it is now is basically look at your birth certificate. That's your name, your sex. And then for your personality, because that's super important to this, take online personality tests and you'll figure it out. Like getting your horoscope, it will help. It helps you figure out, because then you can be like, what? I'm not spontaneous. Am I? The paper says I'm spontaneous, so I must be. It's really enlightening. And then, after that, you can begin to make changes where you would like to. So, this is where it gets really fun, because when you're trying to control how people treat you, you need to, number one, you can lie. For example, your name's Susan, and you want to be called Aikido. Just tell people that's your name. That would be lying. Or you can change it, and that means you could go through the legal steps to get it changed on your birth certificate. Same thing with behavior. You can lie and pretend that you're a very reliable person if people aren't trusting you and you want them to start trusting you, or you could become a more reliable person. Either of these ways works fine. Let's say you want to be treated like you're a blind person. Just take a stick and stab yourself in the eye, both eyes preferably. Just be careful, because sometimes you can get past your eye and go into your brain and kill yourself. And I don't recommend doing anything that could accidentally harm your brain if that wasn't the intention, obviously. I'm just saying, if that's what you want, you can either make that change or you can just pretend to be blind, you know? It is your choice. I'm just saying it's more convincing if you actually do it, but, you know, you would go blind if you did that. I also wanted to mention, if you have someone who is treating you like the other sex and you want to be your sex, or vice versa, if they're treating you like your sex and you want them to treat you like the other sex, some people will say to tell them you're trans. This is a terrible, 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 terrible idea. Don't tell people you're trans. That just gives it away. Now they know. Now they know. Like, that's the whole secret. And you're just telling them. How do you expect them, like, say you're a guy and you want them to treat you like a girl, right? If you tell them you're trans, they're gonna know that you started out with them. Basically, that is the essentials of trying to understand your gender, how to discover your own identity as a human being and change it, make those changes that you want to have so that people treat you the way you want to be treated. You're welcome.